Hello everybody, I am very excited for today's build. It is something I've wanted to do for a while. So, first of all, screw the axe ritualist from last video. It was not nearly as good as what I'm about to show you is. So, the premise and the whole point, I've wanted to make a spear DPS build for the longest time. I haven't seen one anywhere. Nobody's playing spear DPS, probably because it's quite bad, to be fair. It has low range, you have to get into the aggro range to attack. It has travel speed like a bow. It has pretty low damage baseline and pretty low damaging skills, like plus 16, considering this is one of the best DPS skills. That's like, look at Ranger for example, right? Plus 27, plus 60, insane. This, bad. So, I've tried many different variations. Obviously, Paragon himself is not going to be a good option for a spear build. So, well, because of the energy restrictions, right? It's not going to have enough energy for all of the skills that you want to have to make spear at least somewhat usable. So I tried it with Dervish, I tried it with Ranger, I tried it with Elementalist. None of them worked until now. And kind of riding off the back of the previous build series with the Ritualist's Spirit Strength, finally, Spear works. So, let us dive into it. There's quite a lot to talk about. This build actually has quite a lot of nuances and quite a lot of tricks, and there is I would say, a high skill ceiling to this one. It is not super, like, face rolly, kind of. So yeah, I'm going to be talking about quite a bit of things. I actually even made notes for myself, which I'll pull up. Yep, I pulled them up for myself. So yeah, we'll go over it. And then I'll show you probably two fights, one of which will be a hard mode of R.O.X, which is that hard mission with the golems. And you'll see how quickly everything melts there. It is insane. And secondly, I'll try to at least fish for like the highest number that I can, which I assume could probably reach upwards to, I would say, 174, something of that sort, which is crazy. So, with all that hype, let's actually get started on it. So, first of all, skills. Traditionally, we have Spirit Strength, as expected, coupled with Weapon of Aggression. And obviously we're playing Ritualist / Paragon, right? So Spirit Strength, plus 31 damage if you're under weapon spell. Weapon of Aggression, 25% faster attack rate. Fantastic. Then we start actually doing spear work, let's say. So the most powerful, I'd say, spear skill is actually from the Kha'Zix, or from Luxon, I guess, depending on which one you like. It is Spear of Fury. Costs only 5 energy, you deal plus 40 damage on an 8-second cooldown, and you gain 6 strikes of adrenaline if you hit a foe with a condition. Great. This skill has a lot of tricks to it, which I'll get to soon, but not yet. First, an overview. Then, Spear of Lightning, pretty self-explanatory, short cooldown, decent damage, and armor penetration. So, pretty good skill. And, we're Ritualists, so energy is kind of okay for us. Lastly, we have, from the attacks, spear attacks, we have Blazing Spear, which is a very high-hitting attack. For 6 adrenaline, which you might think, it'll take us a long time to get to 6 bits of adrenaline. But, well, Spear of Fury comes to the rescue, right? This is great. So it deals plus 18 damage and inflicts burning with our current setup, which is pretty good. Then we get into the actual sort of power spike of our spear, which, by the way, to clarify, this is a single target, obviously, build with an extreme spike. Like, it's even faster than that bow DPS. It just kills. You do one sequence of actions and things die. And if they don't die, that probably means there's at least 1 or 2 monks completely pocketing that person that you're currently attacking. So, dodge this. It is a Norn skill, so you need to have, at this point, I guess, factions for Kha'Zix, Nightfall for the Paragon, and also Eye of the North for dodge this. Shout, doesn't matter how long it lasts, because we're going to be using it during the fight anyway. It makes our next attack unblockable, which is great. and it deals plus 19 damage. Nice. As in, the next attack deals plus 19 damage. Very nice. That's essentially like a spear attack skill, but you know, it can be comboed with other things, which is what we're kind of looking for. Then we have Find the Weakness. One of my probably favorite skills just because of how juicy it is. You pop that bad boy, combine it with Spear of Fury, and you hit 150 damage, like on average, plus a deep wound. Oh my god, this is the killer. This is what seals the deal, I think. Even though, if you asked me what skill I'd probably drop first, it would probably be Dodge this and Find the Weakness, just because of the energy consumption, because it is a very energy costly skill. But anyway, nice DPS increase for one attack, plus 35. That is crazy big. And finally, we have another Norn skill, our last PvE allowed skill on this bar, which is I Am the Strongest. And that, I think, pushes the damage of the spear to the realm of good from the realm of, you know, decent. Plus 19 damage on the next 7 attacks, and 7 and 19 is here because I'm not maxed rank yet. I haven't finished Out of the North with this character yet, so I'm a bit lagging behind. But it should be 8 attacks plus 20 damage, right, at max rank. So really good. And you might say, you know, it'll run out soon because we attack and it has a 20-second cooldown, but you can pop it at the beginning of the map or like before the fight, and then you use it up and it already is off cooldown when you start the fight, so just use it up, use it again, and then it pretty much lasts you the entire fight. Most of the time, of course. So, with the setup, now we get to, let's talk about stats and gear, and then, actually no, never mind, you know what, screw that. Let's talk about actual tricks and why this build works the way it does. First of all, Spear of Fury is phenomenal in the combination with Find Their Weakness. Why? Because it immediately triggers its effect, right? The spear inflicts a deep wound because of Find Their Weakness, and then it tries to see if foe has a condition, which it does because of just inflicted deep wound, and it actually instantly gives you 6 strikes of adrenaline, which means that you have your Blazing Spear and Dodge this immediately available at the start of the fight. You don't have to wait, you don't have to attack 6 times normally, like a noob. You instantly have access to that, which is insane. So you'll see soon, usually my combo is I start the fight with, obviously, you know, all the buffs available. I'm the strongest, Spear Strength, Aggression. If I am coming from another fight, I might also have Dodged this right away. If not, it's fine. Pop Find Their Weakness, pop Spear of Fury, boom. Immediately after that, you do Spear of Lightning combined with Dodge this because you have full adrenaline. And immediately after that, you do Blazing Spear. And that usually kills things. You'll see very soon. Although not in this probably mission because the golems are super high level and super thick. They're also very heavy armored, but like a caster character will die instantly. Then the Spear of Fury has another benefit that I don't think many people would know about, which is, you see it says that the cast time is 1 second, like a normal attack is, right? Obviously, you know, all the attacks and everything will have a reduced cast time with Weapon of Aggression, but this Spear of Fury specifically actually has, it is capable of cancelling the aftercast of other attacks. The same way as the Penetrating Shot on Ranger, the one that has, what, 1/4 of a second cast time or 3/4 of a second cast time, it also cancels other attacks. The same way this Spear of Fury can cancel other attacks. So in the middle of the fight, after you do the opener and everything, you can actually do, let's say, Spear of Lightning, and immediately after that you can cancel it with Spear of Fury and do 2 hits back to back to back, which is insanely cool. Yeah, I mean, it's just really nice, right? With all of that said, you have a pretty decent and I would say mostly easy to use build, but the important bit is that you need to keep track of the upkeep of these things. You need to keep track of the upkeep of the I'm the Strongest, and every time Dodge this lights up, you probably want to use it, right? You'll see very soon, especially, you know, at the very beginning when you do Spear Fury, Dodge this with Lightning, and then Blazing Spear. Another interesting bit, which you probably will see me do, is if you're having several battles back to back, or if you have, let's say, all of these skills available during a fight, the way you want to do them is you do Dodge This with Spear of Lightning first, then you do Blazing Spear, and then you do Spear of Fury. Why? Because Spear of Fury effectively recharges both Blazing Spear and Dodge This. So you can have Blazing Spear, Spear of Fury, Blazing Spear back to back to back with, no breaks, no waiting, no auto attacks. That is really important because you do want to do skill attacks and not just normal attacks. That will significantly increase your DPS. So, what is another advantage of Spear over, let's say, Bow, is that it attacks relatively fast, actually. Even having just 25% attack speed and not 33%, it does have a decent attack speed. So, even if you somehow run out of all of your skills, you will be pretty quick on gaining that Dodge This adrenaline, for example, back, and then you have a pretty good attack, and Blazing Spear as well. Another note is try not to wait for big combos. Like, I know it's very juicy to do like Spear of Fury plus Find the Weakness, and you probably want to do this combo all the time if you can, if it lines up with the cooldowns. But if you see something relatively low, something meaning some enemy, relatively low, and you want to finish them off and you have only Find the Weakness, just pop it. On the normal attack, just use Find the Weakness, it's fine, because it'll apply Deep Wound, and your damage will probably be enough to kill off. Because Deep Wound also does damage, right? So Deep Wound applies, then your damage applies, and the target will die if you do that, if it has low enough health. So, with all of that, you will see, I'll try to speak when I'm fighting, although it does take a little bit of my mental effort to upkeep the DPS on this build. But with all of that said, there are several drawbacks of this build. Specifically, number one, if you have seen another video on Ritualist I made, you saw that I was using this spell, Side Beyond Sight, which prevented me from being blinded. You don't see it here because, well, I'm maxing out damage, right? If an area is very heavy on blinding enemies, I probably would take it over Dodge This, I would say. Or maybe over Find the Weakness. I don't yet know. It also means that we don't have a cover enchantment for our Spirit Strength. So your primary drawback is actually Disenchantment, I would say. So if you can, try to either pull enemies carefully and then run back so you don't get disenchanted, or try to have an enchantment on you before you run in other than Spirit Strength. Or if you know they're disenchanting anyway, pull without it and then cast it at the beginning of the fight, and you should be fine. Another drawback is, as always, blocking and blindness in this case. Blindness can be removed by a team. Blocking is a problem. It can be resolved by Dodge This, partially. It probably can be resolved if you really need to, if it really, really sucks, and if the area is really, really bad. You can go, I believe, Communing, and there you go, there is Guided Weapon. You can probably slot that in instead of... No, I wouldn't say slot it instead of Weapon of Aggression, because 15 cost versus 10 cost is a big change, and yeah, you don't want to do that probably. But I would slot it as an optional next to Weapon of Aggression, just to keep it up in case you really, really need to. The reason it's Guided Weapon and not Ghostly Weapon, be careful here, Ghostly Weapon costs little, but it cannot be self-targeted. So if you want to use it, at least give it to, I don't know, Oleus or something. And finally, the last, actually very, very big drawback of the build is that you pretty much require, it is a mandatory pick for you to have a Bloodless Power Necro. This build is extremely energy heavy, and even with 4 pips of regeneration, you're still going to run out. There's nothing you can do about it except for dropping damage in order to maintain energy, but with Bloodless Power, you don't need to do that. So if you can, run Bloodless Power Necro in your party. If you cannot, then definitely drop Find Their Weakness. You would want to replace this with, I think, Spirit Siphon. That was a weird way to say Spirit. Spirit Siphon, and then you would fully drop Command, and you would slot all of these points into Spawning Power and Spear Mastery, and whatever's left you'll slot into Channeling. And that should give you enough, I think. Another option is instead of channeling, instead of spirits siphon, you can do Signet of Creation, maybe, if you're running spirits. But that mostly should be sufficient for you, the Spirit Siphon. Again, that would kind of remove a lot of your kill potential, so I would not recommend it. You could also try running this with, instead of dodge this, maybe? Yeah, it's a bit tough. I would definitely say run with Bloodless Power, but trust me, it is worth it. You will see why it is really worth it. It is an absolutely assassination build. Yeah. Now, when it comes to stat spread, let's quickly take a look for now what I've got. Obviously, we go high in spawning power. As a matter of fact, here we have 10 points in spawning power, plus 3 from the rune. Not here, actually. Where is it? There it is. Yeah. Plus 3 spawning power. We've got a little bit of channeling, and the reason why we want at least this amount of channeling is because the weapon lasts 10 seconds, and it has a 10-second cooldown. The more times you have to cast it, the more energy it drains. So you could put more points into channeling to have to maintain it less, but I wouldn't. This is decent enough, because with 13 spawning power, it is plus about 52% of your weapon duration, so this one actually lasts 15 seconds. So it's very fine. Very fine, lol. You don't have to rush to upkeep it. You should be fine. Actually, on this note, I would recommend you to have a Guild Wars 2 toolbox with effect duration and skill bar effects on, because it will be showing you these skills in green when they're off cooldown and they're still active and you don't have to renew them, and it will show them in red when they're about to run out and you have to renew them, right? So you don't actually have to, look at the skill bar, look at the little tiny bar underneath that skill and see how long it takes. You just look down, you see if it's green, you're fine. If it's red, you got to recast it. And if it's its normal color, then that means you're not under its effects. You kind of have to cast it anyway. Anyway, so yeah, for stats, we've got 5 channeling magic, plus 3 from here. Don't look at my restoration plus 1. I was stupid when I was making this character 10-something years ago. Restoration is not necessary. If anything, I would put this point into spawning power, I'd say, for that extra spirit strength damage. Then spawning power, we've got 10 plus 3, spear mastery 10, command 10. The rest 2 points, put them wherever, they don't really matter. And that's it for the spread, I think. For the gear, as per usual, I'm running armor plus 15 while affected by a weapon spell. There is some energy stuff on my gear. There is one, it's not major, is it major? Yeah, it's major, Jesus Christ, I can't speak today. Major vigor. For plus 41 HP, because we have a double plus 3 superior rune, right? So we need a bit of health back. You don't have to run this. You can instead replace it with what is it called? Chest of something. I mean, insignia. Something insignia that gives you 15 HP on your chest, and then another one over here that gives you 10 HP on your leggings, and that should be decent enough. You can also apply some vitae if you want. In other parts of the armor, but yeah, you'll be alright. And then, importantly, the spear, right? At the moment, I'm using the blood spear, which is fine. I would say the only thing I would replace in this spear is the health plus 30. It is nice, but I would go for more damage if I could, and I would probably use the assassin modifier here. I think damage plus 15 is obviously the best pick. Damage plus 15 over 50 HP. Vampiric is, as I learned yesterday, a better pick than armor penetration 20 by 20. So I would definitely recommend going Vampiric. You're not going to be running out of health. You have healers in your party, heroes and stuff. It's whatever. Not really a big deal. And health plus 30 should probably be replaced with the Of the Profession spear grip, which I would probably recommend Assassins plus 5 critical strikes, which gives you energy when you land criticals, and also gives you about 4 to 5% critical chance, which is good, right? It's always good. You could run ranges of the ranger for expertise for some cost reduction of these skills. They'll cost 4 instead of 5, but that's not as good, I would say. You could also try running, technically, actually, Paragon's leadership. You could run off the Paragon, because then your shouts, dodge this will give you 1 energy, because it affects only you. Find the weakness is also going to give you 1 energy, because it also affects only you. And I'm the strongest also will give you 1 energy back, because it affects only you. But it doesn't increase the DPS, it just gives you like some energy management advantage. I think the only other one that could increase your DPS would be Warriors of the Warrior, because that one with 5 strength you get 5% armor penetration for all attacks, and that is good. Still, I would probably say run 15% damage vampiric with of the assassin, and that would be a probably perfect spear. As for the shield, I'm running the command one because I'm running 10 command. If you do drop find their weakness in favor of some energy management because you can't run BIP, then it doesn't really matter what kind of shield you're running, to be perfectly honest. I would probably then replace Master of Mind Domain with physical damage reduction, or something of that sort, or like some kind of extra armor, I guess. You could also run, instead of a shield, a focus, but that would make you a bit vulnerable, and considering you're kind of in the mid-range area, you probably don't want to do that. So anyway, that, I think, wraps up the gear. I've already talked about counters and mana issues, and for the team comp, I would recommend, as always, well, first of all, obviously, Bloodless Power Necro. Mandatory, you have to have it. Without it, you'll have a bad time. And then you will want to run some Cracked Armor as per usual for physical builds. I'm running Vec, classic air magic build, nothing really special at all. You could run Necro. Necro, I wonder if it's going to be better or not. It could be better, because you could run anti-block, and you can run enchantment strips for those like blocking enchantments like Aegis and Guardian. But yeah, at least run at least one character with Cracked Armor and BIP. And that's it, really. You could, if you really wanted to, which I'm not doing that because I can't be bothered, but you could run somebody... Oh no, never mind, Strength of Honor doesn't matter in ranged. Never mind, you cannot. Forget it. I think we've covered everything. So let's turn on hard mode. Let's go to this guy and go to R.O.X and actually fight stuff. All of them need to do something. I don't know what does what, so I'll send them to Grenth. I think when I was testing before, I sent them to Balthazar, which makes my attacks faster, and that kind of doesn't really matter. So, anyway. This is supposedly a very hard mission. But you'll see very soon. Oh yeah, by the way, see, I'm the strongest right away, because, well, it's indefinite pretty much. Fun fact, it is, as the wiki says, actually not indefinite truly. It just lasts 7.5 hours. So, technically speaking, you can run out, I guess, but I don't think you'll be spending 7.5 hours in an area just doing nothing. Alright, what does Grenth give me? Steal 9 health whenever you hit with an attack. I mean, sure, that's not bad. We'll be ignoring this for the purpose of damage, but you'll see that just the pure damage of this build is quite big. Alright, I'm popping everything because I don't need targets for these skills, and now I'm fully buffed. And now, boom, 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 and it's dead. Easy. That was so easy. Again, they're heavily armored, I think. Although maybe medium, I guess. Let's help our acolytes. Let's protect the guys. You see, pay attention, by the way, I'm almost always using Lightning Spear with Dodge This. Just because they kind of line up. And also, right there, I used Spear of Fury without Find Their Weakness, because my heroes do use cracked armor. And that, you see that brown arrow at the top of the nameplate? Of the enemy's nameplate, right? There's a purple one, that's a curse, and then the brown one is the condition. If you see that, you can easily throw Spear of Fury and you'll be fine. And to be perfectly fair, you don't really have to hit that extra condition, because it still does insane damage without that, because the condition doesn't affect the damage output, right? It only affects the adrenaline gain. Which is fine, sometimes you don't have to. Yeah, they're dying like faster than I can really pay attention to. Also, you do see right now in action the troubles I'm having with energy. It is like really energy costly, especially when I have to recast Weapon of Aggression and all that jazz. And right now I'm kind of running out of it because it's continuous fighting perpetually with like no breaks or stops at all. So for that reason you do need a BiP Necro. And in this case, where you're low on energy and your Weapon of Aggression is about to run out, do not use other skills. You have to maintain your Weapon of Aggression, otherwise Spirit Strength falls off. And that's not very good. Your Spirit Strength is like your best asset. You saw those two numbers really quickly back to back. That was the cancellation of Lightning, Spear of Lightning with Spear of Fury. Oh no, this guy's blocking. Oh, I forgot to tell you actually about one more important aspect of this build, and which is actually really could push you to use it over not using it in fear of counters and stuff. All those shouts that affect your damage, so dodge this, find the weakness, and I'm the strongest, none of them activate if you miss with an attack or if it gets blocked. So you're not actually wasting your shots if the enemy is annoying and is dodging everything you throw at them. Which is awesome, really. Also, look at the left side, at the DPS meter. You see, with single target damage, I am at 33% higher than my Gwen, which is the E-Surge Mesmer. So she's supposed to be destroying stuff left and right. And she is, to be fair, she is. She's on par with me, but this build still slaps. Even if I think we had better groups, like right now obviously the golems are not very grouped up, but even if we had groups, should probably pull ahead a little bit because of that, but I wouldn't fall far behind. I can guarantee you that, because I did clear... what is that huge map? This map, Drakar Lake. I went to get the... what's it called, the skill? I'm the strongest. And at that moment, the build started working fully. And I had so much fun that I actually decided to clear the entire map in hard mode. And yeah, I was absolutely on top of that DPS meter there. Oh look, it's R.O.X. Yoink. We are destroying him. There's currently not much to comment on, honestly. But yeah, he's about to die, absolutely. Oh, there it is. That was so easy. And this is hard mode. Like, I remember back in the day, these missions for all these golems gave me so much grief on normal mode. Right now, it's like nothing. Obviously, a large portion of it is because I'm running a good team composition. There's no denying that. But it would take longer, and we could have casualties if we had longer kill times. That is a fact. So, now that we did that, I'll try to do a little other showcase against something that has... against some caster, I would say, just to try and show you like the biggest number I can, which would be the case when we come off of another combat, when we come off of a fight into another fight, and we have dodged this ready, and then we do find their weakness, and then we do the strongest, and then we have Spear of Fury.
Are you hunting something?
That would be very nice. Let's see if we can get some. Oh, these guys are not light armored, no? This might be a bad area to try though. You know what, I'll just try to do it during the fight. I'll wait for the cooldowns and then I'll try to combo them. I said that and immediately used everything, but that's fine. Okay. Waiting for find their weakness and then we should try to get the big number. I'm currently not trying to kill. Okay. I think my find the weakness didn't. Yeah, I used it on another one. Oops. All right, let's just kill stuff. We're being swarmed here. Oh fuck, this is bad. All right, die. Let's try to survive. If we survive this, that would be grand. Honestly, this is a tough fight. We have like 3 swarms on us. Just assassinate. This is actually another interesting point. You see this Berserker R.O.X? Oh no, we're suffering casualties. Your job with this build is, first of all, open a fight on a priority target. And immediately after, and actually every other target after that, yeah, we died, but it's fine. You are supposed to pick priority targets and assassinate them. Especially when you have... I can't even move. Okay. Especially when, you know, you have find the weakness available. Because that, with the deep wound, that just drops the target really quickly. Yeah. Find priority targets, eliminate them, and you should be able to win even hard fights. I would say your priorities would probably be casters almost always, unless you have a very dangerous melee group that is pressuring your healers. In that case, you might want to turn over and heal them, or peel for them, I should say, because you're also a caster. You are being targeted by melees if you give them any attention ever. So yeah, 139, and that's without dodge, so that would have been like 150, 160. This is good. I think I'm honestly extremely enjoying this build. The amount of satisfaction you get from this, and the amount of damage, like this is I would say on par with the assassin version of Spirit Strength builds, because the assassin version is like really strong. You get very strong single target, you get very strong AoE, but this brings me joy. I am finally happy to be playing a spear build. I've tried for so long, I'll be honest, for so long. It finally works. Alright, I think I will not torture you with like trying to find groups and do stuff. I think it's pretty clear that this build works really well. Again, you can take a look at the DPS meter. The E-Surge is barely ahead, and it's probably because we had about 15 enemies clustered together in that one little tiny spot. So yeah, this build definitely works. I hope you do enjoy it. Do let me know. And also, if you have any other spear builds that are effective and cool, do let me know. I do actually want to try it. So, thank you. Have a good one. See you next time.